Welcome back.
Welcome, everybody.
There we go. Welcome back to Death Before Booze. It's been 2 weeks since our last recording. 3 weeks since we've recorded. Recording. I had a baby.
You guys don't know that.
So
she did have a baby.
I had a baby.
She's so cute.
So we need to take a little break. But now we're back, and we will be the same scattered, crazy, not very good at
I mean, we can't
planning.
We can't promise we got it together.
I will never promise I have it together, because I don't have it together in any way, shape, or form.
You know what?
It's bats.
It's fine.
Like on your shirt.
It's
bats. It's bats. But yeah, so here we are, and we just had a whole conversation about how this is not episode 68. This is actually episode 66. So again, we're never going to have it under control. Just love us for who we are, damn it. And this is Chix Pix, number 5. This is our 5th Chix Pix. Isn't that crazy? Because we do it once a quarter. Yeah, this is the last episode of every quarter. 5 quarters.
And it's crazy. We're already a year in, and this is nuts.
Yeah,
this is
15
fun.
months, right?
I've been having fun.
I like it. I think we're good.
It's been fun.
Hope you guys like it. Keep telling your friends and following us and doing good things, because.
And yeah, the YouTube stuff has been kind of like I see the views, so
yay!
That's nice. You guys like to actually view and watch us, which is I don't know.
I don't know why. I didn't do my hair today. I don't even remember the last time I brushed my teeth. So we're doing.
She has a baby, so it's fine.
I had a baby.
It's fine.
And she is me in a much smaller form, so it's very chaotic over here. But we love her so much.
Yeah.
Yay! So, okay, Chix Pix. I'm going second. So, Jen, my love, tell me a story.
Okay, so I was very excited for this one because I just kind of was driving to work, listening to music, and I was like, this is what I want to do. So I got inspired.
I love when that happens. Like, even when we have a topic and you're like, so it literally took me, let's pull back the curtain. I've been sitting here the whole time during labor, after the baby, and I even kept asking Jen, I have no idea what topic should I do for Chix Pick. And literally, today is Sunday when we're recording this. It comes out Tuesday, so that tells you how late I am with it. And I came up with this Friday night at 9 o'clock at night. And it just smacked me in the face. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I need to talk about until I die.
Yeah.
So we hyper-focused as much as we could all day yesterday. And I probably missed a lot, but I'm very excited about my topic, and I absolutely love that when you're just driving or you're washing dishes and all of a sudden you're like, fuck, I need to cover this right now.
I need that.
This is what is going to be it for me. So I'm so glad that happened for you. It's such a great epiphany moment.
It is, and I went crazy because that day at work, I had multiple moments of time where I was kind of just observing and supervising, so I was like, we're doing this all in one day, and I got it all done in one day, and I was like, we got this.
So good.
So I'm actually doing the death of Darrell Abbott, also known as Dimebag Darrell.
Cool.
From Pantera. So
I have no idea.
If you guys are Pantera fans, you know.
I don't know what Pantera is.
Pantera is a heavy metal band.
Oh shit, I did know that.
Yeah,
did I mention I had a baby and my brain doesn't work anymore?
I was going to say, I was like, Sam, I feel like you've heard of that.
This is definitely going to be my excuse for at least the next 18 years. I had a baby. My brain is shot. And I'm going to roll with it.
It's fine.
Thank you for coming to if you are now pregnant, you can also use this excuse. If you've just had a baby you can also use this excuse. And just one more quick PSA from Sam here at Death Before Booze. I saw it on an Instagram thing, and I feel this is a good one. If ever when I die, even if you don't really know me, tell your boss that your best friend died. I will take the hit for you. Take that day off. Go do some self-care. That is my legacy. That is my legacy.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, you can say a very close friend of mine just recently passed, and I need to go to their wake, funeral, whatever the fuck I have, celebration of life. I mean, even if it's like 3 months later and you're like, dude, I really just need a self-care day. Dude, my friend Sam passed away. They were doing the celebration of life on a Tuesday at 3. I need the afternoon. Fucking do it. Girl, do it. Boy, let's go. Baby, I'm all about it. Like, take it and run with it. Thank you. I know that's probably years and years away, so it's fine. But
yes,
put that in the back of your brain.
But oh my god,
my belated Christmas present to you as we move into the new
year.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So, Darrell Lance Abbott was born August 20th, 1966 in Grand Prairie, Texas.
Sounds cool. Is that where the deer and the antelope play?
I mean, according to the song.
Cool. Excellent.
His parents, Carolyn and Jerry Abbott, Jerry was actually a country music producer. So it's really interesting that he went kind of like the hard right.
I'm so excited.
And he had an older brother, Vincent Paul, or Vinnie Paul, as everybody knows him. So the parents divorced in 1979.
Okay.
So Vinnie and Darrell moved to Arlington. But Dad actually remained in the area, and he taught Darrell how to play guitar. So Dad was right up there with him. He took guitar lessons, and he started playing when he was 12.
Oh,
so
yay.
He was influenced by all of the metal bands at the time. So Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Kiss, Van Halen, like the big up and coming at the time. And he would often dress up as Ace Frehley from Kiss, like with the makeup and everything.
Oh my god! Did he have a
like,
long tongue too? Like, and you do that? That's
no,
Kiss,
that's
right?
Gene Simmons. Yes, but it was.
Oh,
Gene
it's just
Simmons.
the one
Ace Frehley
guy.
had the
I
star.
thought they all had like the freakishly long tongues. I didn't realize.
No, just one of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That's not really my genre of music. Although I do know them and I like listen. Like that's not like my Broadway hyperfixation. So, like I'm always like, oh, okay.
Kiss is fine. They have some okay songs, but that's also not my wheelhouse. So
I used to like their show.
But didn't
they have like a reality show?
Yes, he did, and that was batshit.
I watched that. It's like Ozzy Osbourne when he had his reality show.
Yes,
back in the day with the dog shitting all over the house.
Oh my god, and him just being like,
fuck. My god, MTV was so good back then.
Oh, it was so good back then. His father didn't know how to play all of these songs, so he would teach himself how to play Kiss songs and then teach them to Darrell so that they could, and he also learned from country musicians too, but again, like he kind of went the other way. He didn't really go towards the country route.
Gotcha. Hey, everybody has their own thing.
Exactly. Vinny, in the meantime, was playing drums. So it wasn't long before the two of them had like a jam session together, which is adorable. I love it. I love it.
Oh my god, they kind of started working at little cafes and doing fun little acoustic sets and like they got bigger and bigger. Oh.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's not how this is gonna go at all though.
It's kind of not in the cafe sense, but okay. But So the two of them growing up were inseparable because they were just like, okay, let's jam, let's do whatever. So now at 14 years old, Darrell entered a guitar contest at Agora Ballroom in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And because he wasn't old enough to get in by himself, his mom had to go with him because it's
shit. I love that he not only like supporting him too. That's so good.
Yes, and she's like, "Well, you're 14. You can't really go into a bar, so I'll go with you." Not only did he win the competition that day, but he won a lot of competitions to the point where the people were like, "Okay, you got to judge instead because like we got to let someone else have the stage here."
My
because
gosh.
he kept at 14, he won like a whole like. These are like adults, teenagers entering this competition. A 14-year-old.
Wow.
Like, he was insane. And if you've heard, like for you guys, if you've heard Pantera or Damage Plan, you kind of know his riffs and everything, and it's very cool. They're very, very distinguished and very like, I recognize that. So Pantera was formed in 1981. Vinny was asked to join the band along with his friends, so it wasn't Darrell. But he accepted. He said, okay, I'll be your drummer as long as my brother can join too. So they were like, cool, got it. Okay. So they got a drummer and a guitarist out of this, which is nice because sometimes, I mean, there's bands that have like 15 million members, but like it was nice. He's like, I'm not joining unless he joins. And they're like, okay, cool. So they weren't like the founding members of it. They just, his friends
We're starting to
founded it. And yeah. And he's like, well, as long as my brother can come too. And they're like, okay, cool.
That was nice.
So, Darrell was actually asked to join Megadeth. So Megadeth, again, like huge, in 1989. So he said to them, I'll only join if my brother can join. So he did the same thing. Unfortunately, at the time, Dave Mustaine from Megadeth was like, well, I already hired a drummer, so I can't. So he's like, well, then no, I'm not doing it. So I think that that's very sweet. That's very, like a very sweet thing. Originally, Pantera was inspired by, again, Kiss, Van Halen, Judas Priest. So they kind of went with the glam metal at the time, like that, like, you know, the extra makeup, the crazy spandex and stuff like that.
It's called glam metal. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But eventually they went off and did the heavier stuff. Because if you know Pantera, you're like, what? They didn't. Yes, they. Yeah. So they started to change their sound once they signed to Metal Blade Records, which is such a fucking cool name. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. I don't know record labels, so I'm like, whoa, that's neat. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
So anyway, Darrell grew up in the same neighborhood as his longtime partner, Rita Haney, and they dated in 1984. They never married.
Okay.
And Rita actually said in 2006 interview, we didn't believe in the marriage thing. Why have someone you don't know tell you it's okay to be with someone you don't know? We didn't need the middleman. We had a one-on-one with the man upstairs.
Perfect.
That's fine. Like, wasn't like Goldie Hawn? Like, didn't they do that where it was just kind of like a?
Aren't they still like that? Kurt Russell and Goldie
I think
Hawn?
so too. Yeah, I think that they're still together.
They are together,
but they didn't do the marriage thing because they're like, what's why? And that's okay. I think that that's cool.
I mean, to be quite honest, if you are financially stable, like, there's really no point. The whole thing with being married is to have that legal safety net, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Because then, like, some people don't even change their names over, and some people don't even, so, they loved each other. They were having fun.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Like, whatever. What ifs.
Kurt Russell married. Hold on. It's thinking. They are not married.
No. I figured they weren't married, but I didn't know if they were still together.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was cute.
I love when they, like, see things of Kate Hudson, and they, like, take pictures with the pictures or whatever. It's the cutest thing. They're just adorable.
Love it. They're so cute. So Darrell and Vinny opened the Clubhouse, which is an all nude strip club in Dallas in 1996.
Perfect. Did they play
his
there
original?
Too? Did the girls dance?
Yeah,
to their
probably.
Music? That's fucking awesome.
So originally his idea was a rock and roll themed golf course with a strip club at the 19th hole. They thought.
Dude, I don't golf and I don't go to strip clubs, but damn, that's a great idea. You know what else was a great idea during COVID? The pole dancing car washes. That's not what it was. The strip club car washes with the margaritas. That was a fantastic idea. They were doing them down in Louisiana, right? I think there might have been one in Washington State. That was amazing. Like, bravo to you, whoever thought that one up. That was amazing.
Funny. That's good.
That was good.
that they didn't have, because the construction of the golf course was really expensive. So they were like, all right, let's just make the strip club instead. But they did have a lot of famous like sports teams and musician frequent the clubhouse. So it was making some good money too.
Imagine if they did mini golf, and if you paid extra, the strippers would do mini golf with you.
I love that idea.
Right? It could be like,
I love
it could be like attached to the bar. And then it would be like, what was that, Monster Mini Golf with like the black lights and stuff? Like oh my God.
That would be so cool.
What a great, in Vegas they have I'm pretty sure it's a Kiss themed Monster Mini Golf.
Oh, cool.
That would have been fucking perfect. Oh, we really need to, if you would join Patreon for like $5 a month, we have ideas on how to reinvest your money. You won't get any back, but we will, and that would be great. Thank you.
But we could make things to make people happy.
Oh my God, you could totally come to our monster-esque mini golf strip club with margaritas.
Love it.
Somewhere here in Connecticut. I mean, there has to be somewhere zoned, not by you because they're bougie people by you, but definitely up here by me in the sticks. We could do this. This could work.
Yeah, this could work.
TM, don't take my idea. This is my idea. Mine and Jen's, not yours.
I love that.
I'm pulling and that's why we drink. TM. Don't take my idea.
You know what? It's fair though, because no, it's our idea.
Our idea.
It's here. We said it first.
Yes.
So Pantera was going strong, but then eventually they separated in 2003. Darrell and Vinny decided they're going to form a new band without the Pantera name because there were some legal issues with the singer that they had before. So they were like, let's kind of do something different to avoid all that shit. So they formed Damage Plan and signed with Elektra Records shortly after 2004. And this is where they spent a lot of their time touring. They were planning to release an album and all that stuff. So now if you know where this is going in 2004, that's kind of where everything hit for here. So, I mean,
I don't know a damn thing. Let's go. I'm ready.
So, end of 2004, so December 8th, the band was headlining at El Rosa Villa nightclub in Columbus, Ohio.
Cool.
Freaks.
Oh, yeah. His best friend or one of his best friends is walking outside. So he's very upset that he doesn't get to go see her.
It's not his girlfriend.
It's not his girlfriend from next door. It's his girl who is a friend from down the street.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love it. I love when dogs have play dates. It's so cute. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's after, I forget which ball player. Her owner is like really into sports, and it's like for one of the sports ball player. But she's super sweet, and now he's like very upset with Ken because Ken wouldn't let her outside to go see
her. So by the time they took the stage, because if you've been to any kind of a concert, you know that it takes a while. Even if the doors open at 6, the first band goes on at 7. The headliner doesn't go on until about like 10 o'clock. So this is why. This is why, as an old person, I'm like, can we just?
I went to a Beyonce concert at.
Ooh.
What's the Mets stadium? Citi Field.
Oh, Citi Field.
This was years ago. So like before I moved up to Connecticut. So obviously 10 plus years ago. And we got there at like 6. The doors opened at 6, so we took the train and we got there. Got there for 6. We got in. We found our seats. She didn't come on until like 11:30 at night.
Yeah,
and I'm like, girl, I love you, but I need to go to bed. The contact high though was great. I have to tell you, that was fucking amazing. And like DJ Khalid was there. Khalid, what is it?
Oh yeah.
He was there. There was like a lot of like big names to open for her. Like they weren't like, this little band that's coming up. Like, no, man, there was like legit people. And I was like, this is great. We were in New York, so probably that's why.
It's just frustrating because you're right. Like I've been to so many like concerts where I'm like, okay, the headliner, and then you're waiting and you're like, what the fuck time is it? Like because then there's traffic and then you gotta go home. And so
I am absolutely convinced they do that so you spend more money at the
Oh yeah.
theater or the whatever.
Yeah, the concessions.
Oh.
Because like you're gonna be like, I'm thirsty now.
Oh my god, a bottle of water is
$13,
$15. Like, hello.
I want popcorn now. I want this now.
Yeah,
you know,
and
like
the t-shirt's like $50, and I'm like, girl,
Yeah.
I can go on Etsy and get one that looks almost exactly the same for like $12.99, and be like, yeah, no, I totally went. Here's my ticket. Here's my t-shirt. Hello. Okay.
Oh my god. So by the time they actually took the stage at around 10:15, okay, the crowd had grown to 400 people. Now, this is a small nightclub.
Oh.
So it's not like, it's not like a big festival or like a big city field or like stadium type of thing. So they were kind of at the time just very going to little nightclubs, which is fine. So in the meantime, there's this other guy that we're going to bring into the fray. Okay, his name is Nathan Gale. He was dressed in a Columbus Blue Jacket hockey jersey because it's Columbus, Ohio. So
okay.
He had on a hooded sweatshirt, and he jumped on the stage during their performance. He drew out his Beretta 92 FS 9mm semi-automatic pistol.
That's what Martin Riggs has. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. He moved directly towards Darrell and shot him 4 times at point-blank range. In the right cheek, the left ear, the back of the head, and the right hand.
Why? Why?
We're gonna get to why.
Oh, okay.
Although we don't really even know why, but we're gonna get to like what. So now, because this is fucking crazy, okay, like there's loud music going. People didn't even realize what was happening. They just saw the band, they saw this guy on stage, and they were like, what's happening here? So but everybody, on stage was like, the fuck is happening? So after he was shot,
okay.
He shot a couple of other people, including the tour manager who was shot in the chest.
Oh my god.
So he just kind of was like there. So, and everybody, like the band is there, like, what's like, it's very like, holy fuck. So head of security for the band, Jeff Thomas, tackled him.
Good.
To kind of, again, but was fatally shot in the chest, the back, and the upper thigh. So he did end up getting to him, but he also ended up passing. A fan jumped on stage, was also killed because he was trying to aid people in trying to stop this guy. So unfortunately, Nathan Bray was one of the fans who was trying to help and unfortunately was killed.
Oh, no.
Aaron Hulk is an employee, tried to disarm him while he was reloading because this wasn't just a one and done. So he was reloading. So they tried to... And unfortunately, he passed as well. So a member of another band's crew did attempt to disarm him as well, but bullet kind of grazed him. The drum tech, John Brooks, attempted to subdue Nathan, but was shot twice. And then he was taken hostage. Like he kind of grabbed him and was like,
"He's already holding this one."
Yes. The police responded in 3 minutes to the
band fucking tastic.
The 911 dispatch call. So 3 others were wounded before Columbus police officer James Neigmeyer entered the club. He shot Nathan once in the head with a 12 gauge Remington model shotgun.
Excellent.
And killing him, which is awesome. Defeated everything. Okay. Not awesome, but awesome. Okay. He had fired. Now, at the time of all of this, before he was dead, Nathan had fired a total of 15 rounds during the attack with half a full magazine and another 330 rounds. So he was there for yeah.
He just had magazines coming out everywhere.
And he jumped on the stage. So that's another thing that it's kind of like...
And oh my god, imagine the chaos of people trying to exit and run. Like, I'm sure people got hurt trying to stampede out of there.
Didn't run. Oh. Because there's actually, I looked up a thing on Reddit and there was a guy who said, who did a Reddit thread that's like, I was there, ask me anything. So people were asking him questions and he answered a lot of like what was, what he was seeing. It's fucking, because like, if you've ever been to any type of concert, it's chaotic because it's just like the crowd's going, the music's going, everything, and that you're not like kind of, and you're like, okay, this guy, is it part of the show type of thing? Because the guy jumped on stage, so you're like, is this part of, you know? So, unfortunately, Darrell was pronounced dead at the scene. They did try CPR, but unfortunately, he got shot too many times. So apparently, this is the beginning and how it happened. So Nathan Gale was in the club parking lot. He didn't have a ticket to get in.
Okay.
During this time, especially with smaller venues, if you like park outside, you can kind of like listen to the music if that's like what you want to do, whatever.
Yeah.
So he was just kind of there. Some people were like, "Hey, are you planning to leave?" And he's like, "No, I'm waiting for Damage Plan, which is their band." So he ended up entering the premises by scaling a 6-foot wooden fence at the north side of the venue, and he entered through a patio door. So this was before people thought, let's lock things, I suppose.
I mean, you said this is like 2006?
2004.
Security was a big deal then.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's
you would
not
think.
like it was 96. Like, 2006,
no.
like, the world had, or 2004, whatever it was, the world had already changed. Like,
yep.
I am shook that this happened.
Yeah, right? The motive is still unknown, but there's a couple of theories. So, first of all, Nathan was a former U.S. Marine Corps. He was discharged.
Okay.
But the Marines did not explain why he was discharged.
So was he honorably or dishonorably? Do we know?
It just said discharged. Oh. And then they wouldn't comment on why. Okay.
Okay.
So, he had told his mom and his employee that he had been discharged due to paranoid schizophrenia and other erratic behaviors that led up to, like, that he had. So, okay. Friends also started to distance themselves from him because he kind of seemed to be odd, but more than just odd. He pretended to be holding an imaginary dog. He told people God was asking him to kill Marilyn Manson. He would talk and laugh to himself and no explanation. And he was one of those where he lived across the street. His apartment complex was across the street from a tattoo parlor. So he would go to the tattoo parlor and just kind of sit and stare at people as they walked in. And it was very weird, very creepy. So this guy was not okay. Like, I don't know what kind of... he was given medication, but denied additional treatment. So who knows if he was still taking his medication? Who knows?
Cool.
Also, autopsy of him revealed no traces of drugs in his system other than his medication. So it's not like he was like on a bender and was like, oh.
Okay.
Some news outlets said, this is again claims, that he was angry with Darrell because Darrell had previously broken up Pantera. He's like, you're the reason why the band broke up and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay.
So we have to kill him?
Investigate. Yeah, right. Like that's the whole thing. He was like, you broke them up and you're the reason why. And blah, blah, blah.
Bitch,
and it's
can't
like,
you just buy the CD at Barnes & Noble and listen to them on repeat like the rest of us did?
Even if he was the reason, who gives a shit? You got another band out of it. Like, like that's my theory. Like, people kick people out of bands all the time and then, like they get...
Ew.
Like, look at Destiny's Child. After Destiny's Child, like, we got Beyonce by herself, like...
Yeah, we got Kelly Rowland.
Like, come on, right?
We got.
Right. So, like, chill out. You're right. Buy the album.
Like, buy the album. Go drive around in your car and play it at 50 like the rest of us fucking do.
Right.
Grow up.
I agree.
I don't like that.
No. And honestly, that...
I can't believe they denied him more treatment.
No, he denied.
Oh, he didn't want to go. Okay, I'm sorry. No. I thought it was...
So,
I
no,
misunderstood.
He took his meds. Apparently, he was taking his medication, but he was like, I'm not going for anything else. So it's like, all right, but... So
the meds might not have been enough. They might have needed some support.
Right.
Okay. All right, that makes
especially
more sense.
if it's schizophrenia, like that's a big thing that you need a lot of support for, because it's very hard to navigate by yourself. So fortunately this guy,
I mean, I've never had schizophrenia. I definitely have bipolar, and even that, like with your hormones and changing, and like if anything in your world changes, like you need to look at your meds again.
Yeah,
like it's sick. It's crazy.
And someone to at least like check in and be like, hey, how are the meds doing? Because your body sometimes gets too used to them that you're like, okay, like
you have one stress, you get into a car accident that throws you into a stressful situation for a week, and like everything gets funky. Right. You need to like check on it. It's crazy.
So unfortunately, now others say that he was like delusional, and he was like, Pantera and Dimebag had plagiarized his lyrics. Like he wrote lyrics and then the band put them as their own. And I'm like, bro, I don't, this seems very, I know I know the guy was delusional, but this kind of seems like it's more of a, I don't know, someone thought.
So he's a writer. He was a Marine.
Right, like where did this come from?
And
where did this come?
Magically, you have a band? Although they never met one another, they stole his lyrics. Am I getting this correct? Okay, cool. Okay.
So, James Nagmeyer, the officer who again came and took out Nathan, had to be brought before a grand jury to determine if there was any wrongdoing. Again, he discharged his weapon. He killed the person, so that makes sense. Of course, he was cleared of anything, but it's just protocol. Mm-hmm. Now, upon his death, obviously, they had a memorial service for Darrell. Thousands of people attended, and many artists also. So a lot of different band members that they people that they toured with, but also just friends. He was buried alongside his mom in Arlington, Texas. Gene Simmons, the guy with the really long tongue from Kiss, donated a Kiss casket, which I did put on the blog what that looks like. So, because he was such a big Kiss fan, so he donated that to him. And Eddie Van Halen was, at one point, he had made a Bumblebee guitar. So it's one of those typical Van Halen, like the stripes. It's black and yellow striped. And Darrell had come to him prior and said, hey, could you make me one of those, or can I, whatever. So Van Halen actually donated and gave him the original to put in the casket. And he had said, Dime was an original, and only an original deserves the original. So he never,
I'm gonna cry.
Was just the original one, right? It was, and like, if this guitar looks sick. So like, I put pictures of that too, because it was just something, again, like it was just, he was like, hey, I need to replicate that. Like, I need that. He's like, okay, well, he gave him the original. So, Reddit user, and this is what the thing that I found, Black Sabbath 2016 reported they were at the event. He said there wasn't any suspicious activity prior. And after seeing the mass hysteria and blood streaming down one guy's shirt, I was wise enough to bounce the hell out of there. So I didn't really see what was going on. Now he also was asked, has your view of the genre of music changed? And he said no, because you get rough looking people at the shows, and these are some of the nicest people you can ever be with. This guy had serious mental problems, so he was an outlier. It's not like he speaks for all heavy metal fans.
I mean, I kind of feel like that goes for anything. Like, there's always bad apples. I mean, like, I'm sure there's some crazy ass Taylor Swift fan who went to the concert and would probably try and murder people if they could. Like, what's that statistic? You walk by 30-something serial killers in your lifetime? Like, I'm sure they've showed up at a fucking Taylor Swift concert or a Yo Gabba Gabba, like...
Right? Like,
Disney on Ice, you're telling me these people don't have fucking kids? Like, come on. So it's one of those things where I kind of expected people to be like, well, it's got to be the genre of music. And it's like, not necessarily, because, like, I have been to a Slayer concert, okay? And I was in, like, the pit. Ugh.
there's some of the nicest people, like they are very intimidating looking, but they're some of the nicest people. Like if you start to like, especially if they see like, not to be sexist, but if they see like a female, they kind of all like kind of try to bubble wrap you so that you don't get injured.
Yeah, you're in the
And
pit. You're alive. I'm so proud of you.
and they I got crunched in the back so hard I was ready to like throw hands, and then the friend I was with was like, you cannot take that guy on. Like, he is fucking
No.
you will not win.
No, those beer muscles do not work right now.
No, like
not even
you
a
will
little
not.
bit. Don't even do it.
I was like, who the fuck? He was like, just keep turning. Just
Look at the band. They're playing again. You should go watch them. Do anything but what you want to do right now. You want water?
Exactly.
We'll go get you a $13 water. It's fine. Where's your popcorn?
Like,
can it survive?
But that's the thing. Like, so I knew that was going to be brought up, and I know that eventually we're going to be doing like a graveyard chat on music genres and stuff, and that's something that we obviously can go into more depth about. But it's always pissed me off that I'm like, oh, just because I, like certain genre, that's how it is. But now also he was asked about the security because, as you said, where the fuck was security? Well, the venue had, quote, little security as far as frisking people and checking for weapons, and it doesn't look like their security was armed. What is the point of security if you're not going to be armed? I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, think about it. Wait, time out. It's a nightclub. It's like a smaller nightclub. This isn't a huge venue, like you said. And I'm sure 400 people is either at capacity or over capacity, considering how you explained it before. So, like, at a nightclub like this, you really don't expect that you need that you would need security with weaponry like that. Or, like, I mean, I'm sure there's police in the area. I mean, I'm kind of thinking of it like Toads. Maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah, like, that's kind of what I thought of, too.
And when you go to Toads, like, yes, there's security, but I don't think they're packing, like... Anytime I've gone there. And if
they are, you wouldn't know.
That's true. But even so, you have
you're right.
2-3 at the door. You have 1 or 2 circulating. I mean, if you have 10 guys in that place. Toads is a nightclub in New Haven that has a lot of live music, smaller bands.
Yes.
I mean, I think Keanu Reeves has played there in his band or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
they have big acts, but it's a smaller venue. They have, like, a huge bar. But, like, anytime, the 2-3 times I've gone, there's, like, 10, maybe 15 security guards, if you're lucky, roaming around.
Yeah, and you're not even really...
And they're not even blocking the stage, because if they block the stage, they would block the show.
Exactly. Like, at the bigger venues, there's always, like, you see the line.
Yeah.
But, like, it's at smaller ones, that's, So, because of this sparked a huge amount of concerns across the music industry because they were like, what about security for stages? Like, now people are panicked because this guy got up on stage, no problem. And he didn't even have a ticket to get in. He snuck in. So it's like, that's even worse. Yeah. So many concert venues tightened their security. They hired off-duty police officers. Yep. They checked pockets, and like some even have like a metal detector that it runs through. Some security members even study the set list of the band so that they can see like, okay, this one's a really big one. So this one we have to be more on like all eyes on deck for. And like that makes sense. They have the wands, the metal detector. Okay.
Yeah.
But in 2014, Cannibal Corpse drummer and We Are Harlot guitarist noted that some venues have relaxed their security since. And they said it's not cheap to keep an entire security staff up there. To a lot of clubs, it's more important to hire bartenders than security, which, totally makes sense, especially if you're a smaller venue.
I mean, security is a cost.
Yeah.
It's not bringing in money, it's a cost.
And also, as the Columbus Police Department said, it depends on what the club feels they need. So again, if they're like, well, we're going to have 400 plus people, we're going to want to bring in money with drinks. You're going to hire an extra bartender or 2 rather than security because you're not expecting this.
Yeah.
So there also happened to be one in particular, one a moment that in 2010, because there was supposed to be like Cannibal Corpse went on, and there was a fan that snuck on backstage, and they're like, you're always going to be scared because you're up there and you're not prepared for anything, but like, and because you're vulnerable, but at the same time, you can't always think about it. Well, in 2010, Lamb of God frontman Randy Blythe was involved in a manslaughter charge in the Czech Republic because a 19-year-old fan jumped on stage and Randy threw him off because he was like, what the fuck, like, so this is where the kid sustained head injuries. Eventually, he went into a coma and ultimately died. So the verdict in 2013 was delivered that, yes, he was responsible for the death, but given the circumstances, he was not criminally liable.
I feel like that would almost go into a self-defense mode.
Exactly. And honestly, like I remember that case going on too, because like I had gone to a lot of like really heavy concerts, and Lamb of God was one of those bands that I've seen a couple times. And I was like, I get it. Like, Dimebag Darrell died because a fan jumped on stage. Like, I get it. Now today, the Alrosa Villa, the nightclub has been demolished.
Ooh.
And I thought it was really cool. I looked up this particular website called ghostcultmag.com. They hold a memorial for Darrell every year of his passing where they post Pantera and Damage Plan songs for everyone to contribute and enjoy listening to.
Aww.
So they're like, we're not talking about, we're just posting songs. Eventually, like, Vinnie Paul did die a few years back as well, so he's buried next to his brother too. But like, it's just like how the community came together, but also it's kind of scary because the security is like, it is a matter of like, who do we hire?
But even so, you could have all the best security and look at what happened in Vegas.
Yeah.
Where the guy was in what was that? Not Montego Bay, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And just started shooting out the window. Like, you can have all the security you want. If somebody wants to do something terrible, they're going to do something terrible.
They're going to do it.
It's sad and
it's just
scary,
so sad.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So.
Wow. I never heard any of that.
Really?
Yeah, no. I try and hide in my happy little bubble. I really do. I mean, I'm such an extroverted introvert that, like, I really do just hide until I have to put on my extrovert.
Yeah.
And then I usually need like a day or two to recover. Some people get hangovers from alcohol. I get hangovers from people.
From social interactions.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same. I'm the same.
Okay. So.
But I just figured, I was like, well, I know we're big music people, so I was like, oh, this really hit me.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
That was really good. I mean, the story's not good. The story's really sad, but you did a really good job.
Thanks.
Now we're going to have some whiplash because mine has literally nothing to do with anything like that. Mine... Let's just get into it. So we're going across the pond. Yay. And this is where my ADD is definitely going to show because I had a huge hyper focus that continues to this day about the Tudors. And I'm talking Henry VIII,
yes.
all the wives, all the bullshit, all the taking over the church and blah, blah, blah. I also, like, once I started to get into this in, like, middle school, like, I kind of expanded. So, like, the Globe Theater, fucking Shakespeare, like, it all kind of just, anything British. I was like, can I have an accent, Mom? And she goes, you do. It's not a nice one. So, it's fine. Oh. Yo, that Jersey girl.
It's not a nice
That Jersey girl comes out, and it's just scary.
Oh, my God.
But this also kind of goes with my favorite Goosebumps book, the R.L. Stine books from when we were kids. And it's called A Night in Terror Tower. So I am covering the Tower of London.
I love it. I'm so excited.
So, again, so sorry about the whiplash, but bear with me because this is kind of
nuts. It's a Chix Pick.
It's a Chix Pick.
It's a Chix Pick. Everything goes.
I know, but usually I don't know how, but usually they kind of sort of make sense. This does not. Like, we're covering a 2000 rock band, and now we're covering 1,000-year-old fortress.
It's fine. It all makes sense somewhere.
It's fine. So it is officially known as His or Her Majesty's Royal Palace. It's his now because, Charles is king. So it's His Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress of the Tower of London. We shorten that down, obviously, to the Tower of London. And it's situated on the north bank of the River Thames in central London. Cool. Now we know. The White Tower, which was like the first building built there, was commissioned by William the Conqueror in 1078. Let me put that into perspective. America wasn't quote unquote discovered until 1492 when that bastard Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Okay? Like, I'm going to quote unquote that because I know it's bullshit, but that's like, let's put it into a time perspective. 400 years before. We became a country in 1776. Cool beats. Mm-hmm. This building has been erected since since the 1090s. Like, it took 20 years to build, so it was the 1090s. And this was built as a symbol of oppression because, William the Conqueror came in and, like, took over. And then he built, like, this, like, tower, and it's like, yeah, no, I live here now. This is my thing.
Yeah, as you do.
So, throughout the 11th and 12th century, they kind of like, everybody's fighting. Everybody's like, who owns what? Who gets this? Who gets that? Who's going to kill who? It's a whole big fucking thing. Go watch a movie. You'll find out.
You'll find
But in 1,000 years, there's been a ton of fucking history that I didn't want to get into. Just know that a lot of shit went down over 1,000 years. So the tower has served as a royal palace for much of its existence. It was also a prison from 1100 to 1952. 1952. It's also been an armory, so like it held all like guns and weaponry.
Yeah.
It's been a treasury. It's been a menagerie. It was the home of the Royal Mint, a public records office, and it is currently the home of the crown jewels of England.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Multi-purpose.
Yeah, I mean,
currently, the tower as a whole is a 12-acre campus that has over 20 buildings, 2 concentric rings of defense walls, and a moat.
It has a moat?
Yeah, so it started off as the White Tower in 1078 that they commissioned, and it now has over 20 buildings. People live there. Like, there are human beings like you and I who fucking just live there and hang out. Here's some random facts because this, like, blew my mind. So, in 2023, 2.79 million people visited the Tower of London. In 2023. Okay? At any given time, at least 6 ravens are kept at the tower in accordance with the belief that if they are absent, the kingdom will fall.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like you can go and visit the ravens, and at any given time there are at least 6 ravens on the property. At Tom Houghton is a comedian who lives with his father at the Tower of London and posts TikToks about his day-to-day life and living there. There's another one. Oh, I found her. She's an author. I gotta add it. She's another one who lives at... Wow, my phone just went off. That was rude. Who lives in the tower, and she also like posts day-to-day stuff. My favorite TikTok of hers is like, when she comes home drunk and she has to like walk by like the guards who like guard the fortress. And she's like, no, I'm totally sober, and everything's on CCTV. She's like, dude, they have seen everything I've done, every wall I've peed on, everywhere I've thrown up. They've seen it all. It's fine. The tower was the first zoo in London. The famous yeoman warders have guarded the Tower of London since the 16th century. They are also known as beef eaters. This odd name stems from Henry VII, whose personal guards were the first beef eaters, and they were named this because they were allowed to eat as much beef off the king's table as they wanted as part of their pay.
Interesting.
Isn't that cool? And this is back when, this property was used as a palace. So, like, the king lived there. They had things there. So that's why these were, like, special guards at this special tower. During World War I, only 1 bomb fell on the tower and it landed in the moat. During World War II, however, the tower was absolutely devastated and had to be rebuilt. And then during both wars, the Tower of London transformed into an impenetrable military base. So they removed everything, royalty, whatever, like all the crown jewels, they took them all out of there and used it as an actual military base. It was considered an honor to be executed at the Tower of London, like at the Green.
Okay.
So it was limited to nobility and royalty of people who were allowed to be executed there. It was known for its torture, specifically the rack. And finally, the last...
Oh.
Yeah, the rack. Isn't that fun?
Oh.
That's that big plank where they, like, tied your arms and they would, like, crank it and, like, pull you apart.
It's also a wrestling move, but it's not that.
Yeah, I'm sure you still have all your limbs when you're done with wrestling. Just saying. Just letting you know. And finally, the last execution was in the 1940s. During World War II, someone was hanged for treason because they were a double. Yeah, they were a double spy between England and
it's
Germany.
A thing.
Definitely a thing.
It's a thing.
So again, obviously, a ton of history for almost 1,000 years. We aren't a history podcast, so I'm not doing that. But let's get to the paranormal part because there are at least 13 ghosts.
Hell yeah.
That are seen regularly on the property. So we're going to start with the princes. So the princes in the tower, they were the sons of King Edward the Fourth. Ivy is 4. Yeah, Ivy is 4. The 4th. So Edward the 5th of England, and he was supposed to be king, but he was a deposed king, and we'll get to it. He was 12 years old when he was named kind of sort of king. Then Prince Richard of Shrewsbury, who was also dubbed the Duke of York, was 9. So their uncle, Richard, sent them over to the tower so they could get ready for Edward V's coronation. And this is a normal thing. Like, you know, right before your coronation, you go to the tower, you spend the night there, and then you march your little ass from there to wherever you're going for your coronation. I'm pretty sure it's Westminster.
Right.
And we recently saw this with King Charles. So, like, that's why I'm kind of like, this is how it goes. But while they were there, they kind of disappeared. So they were there, they were hanging out, living the good life, and then no one ever saw them again. Turns out, before the king's, you know, Edward V's coronation, he and his brother were declared illegitimate by Parliament. So, who gets to go in their place? King Richard III, the uncle who sent them to the tower.
Yeah, that's a little sauce.
Just a smidgen, just a little bit. So, it's widely accepted but never proven that they were murdered. Richard III was the prime suspect, but there were also many others in, you know, the court and nobility that could have killed them because just wanting to climb ranks out of greed, out of whatever. Who wants a 12-year-old running the country when, you know, let's be real. So.
Yeah. Wasn't there a certain age, though, like, that you had to be? Oh, no. It was, okay.
So, like,
I
Henry
sure
VIII, when his brother died and he took succession, I think he was, like, 11. So they had, like, he was the king, and they were kind of training him to still be the king. And, you know, there was, like, somebody appointed to kind of be interim.
Advisor,
yes. Everything goes through Henry VIII, however, you know, he's got, like, all these fucking people who are going to tell him how to run the country. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so in 1674, they were excavating the tower and, like, restoring it, and they found a wooden box containing 2 small human skeletons under a staircase.
There you go. There they are.
The bones at the time were widely accepted to be those of the princes, but again, has not been proven. And King Charles II at the time had the bones buried in Westminster Abbey, where they currently remain, and they will not allow them to be scientifically tested.
All right.
So now the figures of 2 lost little boys wearing nightshirts holding hands are frequently seen in the White Tower. They've also been seen playing in the battlements, and some claim to have heard children giggling in the halls. Like I said before, there are people who live in the Tower of London. Like, this is their home. They work there. They rented a room. I don't fucking know. But at one point, these beefeaters, like, you know, there were certain people who, like, worked the overnight shift and they got to stay on the property, so it was easier for them. They were changing apartments on the property. So the beefeater said to his daughter, hey, you know, we're going to move over there on that side of the property. And she's like, that's great, because I'm really tired of sharing my toys with Edward and Richard. And the dad's like, excuse me?
Let's move right now.
Excuse me? Who are Edward and Richard? And she's like, oh, it's those two boys in dresses who always play with my toys at night. Now, this little girl had no idea who the princes were, had no idea what their names would be, and why would two little boys randomly show up in dresses? Yeah, they moved really quick after that.
I mean, I would say.
Yeah, they were done. The next one we're going to cover is Guy Fawkes. So this is the guy who inspired V for Vendetta. He was a member of a group of provincial English Catholics involved in the failed gunpowder plot of 1605. So the gunpowder plot was where they took a compartment under Parliament. Like, they rented it out. They filled it with gunpowder and were waiting for King James I to come to Parliament, and they were going to blow it up while he was there to assassinate him.
Yeah.
Well, somebody tipped them off, like the government. Somebody tipped the police off, or whoever, the guards. And who did they find in front of all the gunpowder in this compartment but Guy Fawkes? So he was imprisoned in the Queen's house at the Tower of London and was subjected to intense torture. Probably the rack, like, you know, where you get all your arms pulled off. Mm-hmm. And then he was left in the White Tower dungeons. It is said that you can hear Fawkes scream and cries from the council chamber in the White Tower where he was kept and where he was prepared for execution. Mm-hmm. Ew. Now we get to some of my favorite people, the Tudors. So Henry VIII's second wife, Anne Boleyn, was accused of adultery and taken as a prisoner by barge along the River Thames to the Tower of London through the infamous Traitor's Gate. So now she had been to the Tower of London 3 years prior, where she also took a barge through the River Thames, but she got to come through the royalty gate.
Yeah, not the Traitor's
Not the Traitor's Gate. She had to come through the royalty gate and stay in the pretty room. And now she stayed in a less pretty compartment where she waited. Well, they actually took, like, the Great Hall that was there at the time, and they, like, did all of this construction to make it into a courtroom to, like, hold trial, even though Henry was like, get rid of this bitch because I need to go fuck Jane Seymour now. But the whole thing. All right. So hung out there. In 3 days she was tried, and 2 weeks later her execution was carried out. Anne was beheaded on the Tower Green and laid to rest in the Chapel Royal of St. Peter in Chains, which is basically the little church that's on property. And now she's seen in multiple places. So 340 years later, a soldier reported seeing a light burning in a closed chapel after climbing to the window. So he took, like, a ladder, put it up against the chapel, climbed up there. The soldier said to have seen a procession of knights and ladies led by the headless Anne Boleyn. And then, it gets worse. Right. So you have this procession going down the church, like the center thing of the church. Mm-hmm. They all turned to look at him. In sync, turned and looked at him.
Oh, thank you.
And then they all disappeared. And apparently Anne was carrying her head.
I mean,
They also hear her crying in her, like, so the building where she was kept isn't really there anymore. There have obviously been renovations and stuff. But in the area where her compartments would have been, like her apartment there, they hear crying. They also see her walking the grounds, like as though she's walking through her room. And she's also seen holding her head and crying on the green. Okay. Like, she holds it, like, here, like, in front of her chest.
Like in the...
Like a baby. And it's really sad. And it's right by where she was actually decapitated. Where her kappa was detated from her head. Like, cool. Whew, okay. I can't. That one freaks me out because, like, you can see it. Like, you can see it in your head. Anne Boleyn's body walking around with her head with that little... Okay. So Henry IV was murdered at the altar of the king's private chapel in 1471 close to midnight. Again, it was really just a succession thing. Like, someone was like, if I get rid of him, then I can be king.
Right.
He was going to inherit both the English and French thrones, but the House of York imprisoned him during the War of the Roses. Again, thousands of years of history. I can't cover it all. But his ghost is believed to haunt the Wakefield Tower, and it appears at the stroke of midnight when the, like, weather and time and everything is right. So, like, if you're there at midnight, like, you can see him, like, doing his thing, and then he disappears.
Interesting.
So Henry III housed his menagerie of wild animals at the Tower of London. This is when it was a zoo, including
the zoo,
lions or leopards from the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II. He also had pumas, tigers, jackals, an elephant from France, and even a polar bear. Visitors who came to the tower to see these creatures would usually come mostly for the bear baiting. So this is the 16th and 17th century. And bear baiting is very mean, and I don't like it, and fuck these people for doing it.
Yeah.
But apparently there's a ghost bear from one of these bear baitings. And every so often the ghost bear is seen running through the green and will, quote unquote, attack the beefeaters. It was so bad that in 1816, one of the beefeaters, his name, oh no, that's not his name. He was walking, doing his little thing, and this bear attacked him, and he was trying to, like, stab it with his bayonet, and the bayonet is going through the bear, and the bear is, like, trying to maul him, and the bear is going through him, and he's not getting hurt. He died 2 days later of fear. Like, he, like, basically gave himself a heart attack and suffered for 2 days until he died. Whew, yeah. Okay, then there's Sir Walter Raleigh. He was imprisoned by both Elizabeth I and James I. Like, he was a overachiever. So the first time he was sent away, it was because he got married, and he wasn't supposed to get married, because back then you needed, like, approval to get married. And then he went in for treason. So he spent over 13 years in the Bloody Tower during his first confinement. He attempted suicide. It didn't work. He actually, like, made himself at home because he was there for so long, but he was, like, nobility, so he got, like, a room, and, like, he was allowed to, like, walk around. Like, he made friends and all this shit.
He's like, this is great. I love it.
Yeah. His second imprisonment was in Beauchamp Tower, and he was put away in 1603. And unfortunately, he was beheaded outside the Palace of Westminster for treason. And since then, his ghost has wandered the Bloody Tower as well as along the battlements. This is known as Raleigh's Way. So it's like the little walkway on the roof that they, like, you know, would shoot people from if, like, they were somebody was trying to take over. So, like, he walks up there. Also, someone who lives in those apartments now says that whenever she goes to, like, take a bath, she feels a nice little whack on the ass. Like, hey, good job, girlfriend.
Wow.
And she's convinced it's Walter Raleigh.
That's rude. It's rude.
This one's kind of weird. In 1957, Welsh Guardsman Johns was on sentry duty at the Salt Tower, and he encountered a shapeless form with the face of a young woman. Perhaps one of the many women who suffered a terrible fate at the Tower of London. But I've also heard that stories like this could be either Anne Boleyn or Lady Jane Grey, who we're getting to. So,
yes.
Then you had Margaret Pole. She was 67 at the time of her death, and she was brought to the scaffold by Henry VIII for crimes. Her crime was being the mother of Cardinal Pole, okay? And Cardinal Pole spoke against Henry leaving the church, okay?
Yeah.
So
yeah, so that's treason.
That's treason. So when, everybody started getting their heads knocked off for this,
They're
Cardinal
like,
Pole was like, peace out, bro. I'm going to the Vatican and they're going to protect me.
Nice.
Cool. Great. Grand. So Henry VIII went, all right, bye, Felicia. I'm just going to kill everything that you love. So his mother was, one of them. And on her execution day, eyewitnesses say that the executioner was a, quote, wretched and blundering youth who was unable to perform a clean execution with an axe. When the Countess reached the scaffold where she was to be beheaded, she refused to kneel, saying, quote, so should traitors do, and I am none. Like, I'm not a traitor, I'm not kneeling, fair. I didn't do anything. So the executioner raised his axe to swing, and this bitch got scared and started running around the scaffolding. So instead of getting control of the situation, this asshole just took his axe and started hacking at her. So he hit her like 4 or 5 times, and her head never actually came off. She was just a bloody mauled mess on the scaffolding.
Oh my God.
So now her ghostly screams can be heard on the Tower Green, and few visitors have claimed to see a ghostly reenactment of the chase, or a woman with her head kind of hanging off running around the green in circles.
Oh God.
Could you imagine? I would die.
No,
I'd be like, what the fuck Haunted Mansion bullshit is this right now? Like, where are the animatronics? What is happening?
It is the Haunted Mansion.
It's the fucking Haunted Mansion. Okay, so in 1864, Captain J.D. Dundas observed a beefeater attempting to charge a whitish female figure with his bayonet. Chillingly, this apparition appeared in the courtyard where Anne Boleyn was beheaded, and her presence is typically in that, like, of this white female figure, because it's seen multiple places on the property, but typically when this specific figure comes, you get an overwhelming smell of cheap perfume, so strong that it has made tower visitors as well as the beefeaters sick, like to the point of vomiting. And a few visitors have reported being tapped on the shoulder only to turn around and see nothing but a wisp of white going around the corner with the smell. Ugh. So again, that one could either be Anne Boleyn or Lady Jane Grey, who we are now at. So she became queen after the death of King Edward VI, and she was bequeathed the throne through his will. Okay, so she is known as the English queen with the shortest reign, a mere 9 days, and a council decreed that the Catholic Mary, so Henry VIII's daughter with Catherine of Aragon, also known as Bloody Mary, who I will cover one day, was the true ruler of England. So this bitch, Jane Grey, was like, girl, no problem. Take the throne back. I took it because
I don't want it.
Somebody told me in a will I had to be queen, but I don't need to be queen. You can be queen. Fucking take it. And Mary's like, awesome. Great. Cuz thank you so much. Bitch, go to the fucking tower for treason. And she's like, but I didn't treason you. I did what I was fucking told. Now Parliament or whoever said this. So fuck it. I don't need to go to the thing. And she goes, oh no, treason, go fuck yourself. I mean, she was known as Bloody Mary for a reason.
Right.
So her and her husband, Lord Guilford Dudley, were executed at the Tower Green in 1554, again, for treason. And the white figure of Jane is said to haunt the battlements of the Tower of London to this day. Lord Guilford Dudley, he haunts Beauchamp Tower, sitting in his cell and weeping late into the night. Lord Dudley is also said to be responsible for the word Jane being etched into one of the walls on property.
Interesting.
Yep. If you are visiting the Tower of London, listen for the sound of sandals slapping against the stone floors. This is reported to be from the steps of ghostly monks who also lived on the property at some point. Then there's the ghost sighting of Arbella Stewart, who was cousin to Elizabeth I. She was imprisoned by James I for marrying William Seymour, who was the nephew of Lady Jane Grey. I'm telling you, like,
it's
always something.
Family disaster.
So again, she got married to somebody, and King James didn't approve it. I don't even think he was king when they actually got married, but because of the succession and who died and who did this, Arbella Stewart had a really good shot at getting the throne, and James was like, "You're threatening my position. Go fuck yourself." So she was placed under arrest, put in the tower, where she either refused to eat or was purposefully starved. So now her ghost walks through the Queen's house regularly.
Huh.
And finally, there's this thing called, quote, the nameless thing.
I don't like the sound of that at all.
I honestly had a problem finding most information on this thing, but it was mentioned multiple times, and literally all I got was, it's a petrifying spirit which follows the guards of the tower as they walk their beat from the River Thames to the Sally Portal entrance.
Okay, so it's some... Oh, God,
I think it's like a poltergeist that kind of follows you around and like fucks with you all night when you're on shift. Like, that's kind of what I took from it, but whatever.
Right.
You can currently visit the Tower of London daily from 10 a.m. to 4:30. They have scheduled gun salutes at 1 p.m. at an additional charge.
Oh, cool.
And currently it's £34.80 or $43.75 USD per adult ticket. And yeah, so that's the Tower of London.
Huh. We should go.
Oh my God, let's fucking go. Let's go. I want to go. I would totally go. I don't have a passport. I need to get one of those. But then we can totally go.
Yeah. Then we could totally
go. Totally fucking go.
That'd be fun.
So what have we learned?
That's a lot.
Yeah, in one spot.
A lot of goddamn people died in that fucking area. But also, you always learn that history, like, especially with the British history, is always crazy because it's like, this king kills this person. This is treason.
You want to talk about
whenever someone's
functional families, just look at the fucking British lineage.
And whenever you see, like, oh, they were killed for treason, you're like, treason? What, so it's a very...
Yeah, I mean, treason could have been like, they beat me at fucking chess and I got pissed about it. How dare you beat me at my own game? Like, fuck off. Like, I'm sorry if you wanted to hear more about the history of all of that. Like, I'm totally into it, but we don't have enough time. And that's not really what we're about here. But if you would like to hear more about the history, let me know, because I can totally do a deep dive on Henry VIII and all 6 of his wives.
Oh my God, that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, there's lots of death, lots of murder, lots of
death. Well, that is true crime then. Lots of death, lots of murder.
Well, I mean, is it really true crime if the king was like, you need to go away for treason? Wow, so we learned a lot today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what your favorite thing about London or the Tudors or any of that shit is, because I would love to talk more about it.
That's fun.
So fun. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Hit the bell so you know when we put up new shit. If you want to join our Patreon because you're all caught up and you want to hear more fun shit that we talk about, go to our website, deathbeforebooze.com, click on Patreon. Our subscriptions start at $5 a month, NBD. You can always get some of our merch again at our website. Just click on merch. And Jen put up some new stuff a couple weeks ago. I know that it's after the holidays, but it's still super cute, and I'm sure it's on sale because TeePublic does a lot of sales. So feel free to go over there.
They do a lot of sales.
They do a lot of sales. Other than that, I don't remember what else I'm supposed to talk about because it's been so long since I've done this. But rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, and we love you. We'll see you next week. Bye.
And Happy New Year.
Oh my gosh, Happy New Year. We'll see you in 2025.
Yeah. Bye. All right. Well, stay spooky, guys. Love you. Bye.